The Zoom things go.
Oh, hey VC, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying your week. I got 4 of us tonight. What a treat. It's been a while since it's been 4 of us, but we're all here to serve your pleasure. Actually, tonight we're going to talk about our top 5 sophomore albums. By sophomore albums, obviously we mean the second album in an artist or a band's catalog that we think is great. We've picked 5 albums. Aaron's picked 23. But we're going to go around and we're going to go album by album and in clockwise order. Aaron, you want to kick things off and show us your first sophomore album?
Sure. First, I'd like to say, how you doing, Josh? Good luck with your move.
Yeah, Josh.
And
miss you.
Miss you here.
Miss you, brother. Miss you, brother.
So when I did this, what I thought of was albums that are as good or better than their debut. And a lot of bands' debut album is usually their best. And all of these that I've picked are as good or better than their debut. I mean, you can at least argue that. So the first one I instantly thought of was this: Megadeth, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? Of course, their second album, After Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. And this is what really launched them and made them become huge. You know, it's the title song. And, Wake Up Dead. I still remember watching Wake Up Dead, the video for that when it first came out, them in that airplane hangar. And just, it's like they sang a little at the beginning. There's a huge, long instrumental, a little bit of singing at the end. I just never really heard something quite like that at the time. And it really changed my perspective on music and made me love the heavier, like thrash stuff a lot more. This is what really got me into it. And, stuff like Good Morning Black Friday is so cool on here. And, some people think that Killing Is My Business is their best, but to me, this has always been their best, along with Rest in Peace. So I picked this as my first one here. Great lineup, too, on this album. Got Gar Samuelson on the drums and Chris Poland on the guitar, along with Dave Mustaine and David Ellison. So I love the cover, too. I just always love showing that. This is actually my record I've had since it was released. I bought this when it came out, so I still have my old copy. Nice. And it sounds better than any reissue I bought, so I got rid of my reissues.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but Dave Mustaine actually was in Metallica.
Yep.
Really? I didn't know
original
that.
Yep. Fun fact.
Yep. Original lead guitarist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And he wrote
problem.
Wrote Metallica songs too. 4 on Kill 'Em All, 2 on Red Lightning, and 1 on Master Puppets by himself.
I think I like Peace Sells better than Killing too. I think it's it's a more streamlined album. I think they sort of honed in on their sound on that album.
Yeah. And then it come into like Rust in Peace and Countdown to Extinction and all that stuff that came after that really blew them up.
Yeah.
And then MTV stole from them for their music news. Remember?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Doom, 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 doom. So.
Yep, Peace Sells. The song Peace Sells, yeah. Love that song.
Yeah, that's a great song. That's a good pick.
Cool. All right, Chris.
Christopher.
Hello, gentlemen. It's good to be back tonight.
Great to see you.
Have you?
Good to see all your smiling, handsome faces. Yeah, well, I'm going with the Jesus and Mary Chain.
Jesus.
Yeah. This is their second record called Darklands. And I like their first record as well. Their first record was called Psycho Candy. The thing with Psycho Candy was it was just drenched in feedback. It was like the Beach Boys with feedback and distortion. And I like it, but it, by the end of that record, it's almost like, okay, I almost want like a clean sound. And that's what they went with this album. It's they took out the distortion and the feedback, and they just focused on the music. And I'm going to say the Beach Boys again because they have a big time Beach Boys influence in their melodies and their song structures. This is a great record. It's really like the 80s meets the Beach Boys. And there were some singles off of this album. I believe April Skies was a single. And Happy When It Rains. Really good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I know that there are some Jesus and Mary Chain fans out there. I would say anybody who's into like Echo and the Bunnymen, bands like that, Jeff, I'm sure, Jeff, you know these guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're from Scotland, aren't they?
Yeah, they're two brothers, I believe.
Yeah, one named Jesus, and one named Mary.
Right. And I have no idea what the significance of the name is, but if you are into 80s pop, darker, like goth pop, if you will, check out this band, and I would check out the album Darklands.
Yeah, they kind of have a girl group also. I mean, I think they were big fans of like the girl groups from the 60s, and I think you definitely get that vibe also when you listen to them.
Yeah. And most people go to their first album, Psycho Candy, but I prefer Darklands.
Great pick.
Thanks.
That's cool. I've never really had any interest in that band, but the way you just described it kind of makes it sound kind of cool.
Yeah, there's nothing strange about this record. They're just really good pop songs. I think anybody who's into just music in general, you would dig this record.
Well, I like your Beach Boys references, and then when Jeff said like the old girl groups, I don't know, that just sounds kind of interesting, putting it in like in a different format or something.
Yep.
Great choices, guys. All right. So my sophomore, I almost went with albums that came out my sophomore year, but then I realized that's not what we're talking about. So I went with the second album from a band from the 80s that I loved. And this is All Fired Up by Fastway. It seems like a lot of people, they always talk about the first album, which I love. That's a great album. But I feel like it's a step down a little bit. I can't say it quite matches that first album, but this is just another great rock and roll album. Jerry Shirley on drums, still sounding fantastic on here. Dave King on vocals, and of course Eddie Clark on guitar. And there are like some really great moments on this record too. I like albums, hard rock albums that have like these really great moments in it. Like Judas Priest always manages to do that. I like the song Misunderstood and Nonstop Love. They have these moments where the tempo changes in it. They just kick ass. I love this. I love the All Fired Up song on here. There isn't really a bad song on here, I don't think. I mean, there's some songs that aren't necessarily amazing, but they're still good songs. And they even have The Stranger, which is this really cool slow song on here that I like a lot. So if there's anybody that maybe all they ever got was that first Fastway album, I would definitely check out this. Or if you just like just good, simple, hard rock, this is the album for you. All Fired Up by Fastway.
Well, what I like about Fastway is that with Fast Eddie Clark and the band, they could have really just gone like the Motorhead route.
Yeah.
And done like Motorhead 2. But they went a different direction, which I think is cool.
Yeah, they really did. That's why I remember being surprised hearing the first Fastway album, because you would think, like what you just said, that it might be a little bit different, but it's just straight up hard rock, a little bit of early Led Zeppelin kind of influence going on throughout there, especially maybe some of the vocals and the drums or whatnot, but it's just straight up in your face rock.
Yeah,
and I know. I was just going to say, I know one of Aaron's favorite records is Trick or Treat by Fastway.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I've seen him.
Yep. But a lot of that I had to do with, I think, having Pete Way started the band with them. And that's where they got their name, Fast Eddie Clark and Pete Way. And it was a more of just not quite the Motorhead sound. So I think them two coming together gave them that sound. And I really love them.
Yeah, I don't even know. I can't remember who plays bass on this.
And Pete Way never played on any of the records. He formed them, and he didn't actually play. They kept the name, even though he didn't play on any of the albums.
Well, it's a pretty cool name, so I can't blame him.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if it would have been really cool if Pete Way was in that band, because I love Pete Way. So,
and the singer is really good too. He had a band called Commando after that. It's really good, and now he's in Flogging Molly, which is totally different. So,
yeah,
but he's
sure.
a great.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great singer. All right, Jeff.
All right. Well, my pick is going to be from Ben Folds 5. This is their second album, Whatever and Ever, Amen. And this is basically if Elton John had been born 20 years later and changed his name to Ben Folds, formed a trio, it would sound like this. But it's different than anything. I mean, this came out in the 90s, but it doesn't sound like anything else that came out in the 90s. Basically, you have Ben Folds on piano, you got a guy on bass, and you got a guy on drums. It's just a pure power trio. There's very, very little guitar at all on here. And it makes for a very interesting sound, but it's definitely power pop, but kind of with an alternative edge to it. The first song off here is One Angry Dwarf, and 200's Solemn Faces, which is kind of a mouthful, but it's just a real rollicking piano rocker. Brick, I think, was the song that most people would know off of here. It's basically about a guy who he's taking his girlfriend to get an abortion and kind of, ruminating about the fact that she's kind of bringing him down. Have you guys familiar with that song at all?
What an interesting topic for a song.
Yeah, well, it really is. And then there's Song for the Dumped, which basically the chorus is, give me my money back, you bitch. But anyway, but it's great. Yeah, there's ballads on here, there's piano rockers. It's if you like Elton John, if you like Billy Joel,
if you like songs about abortion.
Yeah, if you like songs about abortion.
and being depressed about it.
Yeah. Who invited you back, Chris, anyway? Giving me shit already. It's only my first pick.
No, I like Ben Folds 5.
Yeah, no, and I know I've shown the Reinhold Messner album, which was the album after this on one of our other episodes, but definitely check out Ben Folds 5. And it's irony, there's only 3 members of the band, but they're called Ben Folds 5. If that doesn't draw you in and make you want to listen to this album, I understand. No, it's, a lot of cool stuff. It's very cool, very eclectic, and I can't recommend it enough. There you go.
Cool. What's the origin of their name? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, Ben Folds is the piano player. He's a singer, songwriter, piano player. I don't know if it's just kind of like, haha, we'll call it Ben Folds 5, but we're a trio. We kind of get a sense of humor about him. But anyway, it's cool.
This is gonna sound dumb, but
it's out on Spotify. Yeah. But yeah, the one angry dwarf, and you're not allowed to say dwarf anymore. One angry, but that's the title of the song. But basically, it's about this little person who's now going to get revenge on anybody. It's sort of like the subject matter of Jeremy, but this guy is a little person, and he is going to take revenge on all the people who have made fun of him and picked on him all his life. So.
He's a great pianist.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to show any more of my fucking records.
Listen, you can't. I mean, I've shown the Indigo Girls before, so and fucking Rod.
Yeah. Well, you still might. You still might. I don't know.
I still might. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the character in Jeremy, but he's a little person.
So warning, if you are a politically correct person, do not watch this video.
We'll see.
Right. They've already shut the video off, Chris.
Yeah, nobody watches past the first thing. Here,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
all right.
All right, Aaron, get us back on track, will you?
I'll
Yeah.
try. Well, the next one, there's a few different bands I could have went with this artist, but I went with my favorite, which was just named after him. I hope this isn't someone else's pick, but his debut record is one of the best heavy metal records of all time, and the second record I think is equally as good. It's The Last in Line from Dio.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is Holy Diver and The Last in Line are two of my all-time favorite records. I mean, for anything, period. They're those two perfect heavy metal records. And it was very surprising that this was as good, almost as good, or, you know, sometimes I like it better than Holy Diver. You know, stuff like Egypt, the Chains is on, Eat Your Heart Out. Those are my two favorites, last two songs. But, you know, it had the big hits, We Rock and The Last in Line. And his voice is just amazing on it. Has such an amazing band on this album. And it's just, I never get old of it. I mean, never get tired of it. Never gets old to me. And I think it's one of the perfect heavy metal records of all time. So, you know, it's debatable whether it's as good as Holy Diver. I think it is.
Oh, wow. Gary's got an autograph on his DVD.
Yeah.
All right.
Vivian Campbell and Vinny Appice on there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Which, I mean-
that's a good point. Both those albums, the first two albums are basically interchangeable as far as how good they are. I mean, you know, if I hear somebody like talk about this one's better, I could say, yeah, I agree. And then the next person could have the opposite argument. And I go, yeah, I'd agree with that too. They're just so close. They're just both great.
The only thing
guys-
I think, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys know this, but Ronnie James Dio was in Black Sabbath
Really?
before he was in the band Dio.
He was also
Wasn't
a
he,
little person.
I think he was in Rainbow too, wasn't he?
He was.
I think so. He was even in something before that.
He was an elf.
Elf.
Elf, yeah, couldn't think of it.
But yeah, the only thing that I think this is just a little bit lacking over the Less Than Holy Diver is the song Mystery is a little more pop. But other than that, that's the only thing that the only reason I would put Holy Diver just a little better. But other than that, this album is so good. It's just as good. So
I've never liked that song.
it's a decent song, but it's definitely the worst song on the first two records, I think.
Yeah,
You know,
it's kind of, it doesn't suck or anything, but it's kind of weak. I don't know.
It's more Sacred Heart sounding than the first two records.
Yes, that's a very good analogy.
Cool.
Chris has
All right,
Peter,
good.
Paul, and Mary.
Well, we are picking some great albums.
That's because we're awesome.
The pressure is on.
Nice.
Ooh, there's one of your favorites.
Iron Butterfly Ball. Now, again, the first album, actually, no. Actually, this isn't their sophomore record. Shit. Is this? Oh, this is their
Disqualified.
this is their third record. All right, forget about it. This is their third record. All right, I'm picking another one.
Do you have Led Zeppelin 3 in your?
See, this is what happens. I have one beer and it's all messed up.
It's easy to forget about.
We're not doing third records. All right, so listen, this is a good album, but I'll go with another choice. All right, here we go.
If we mess up, Aaron can pick one for us.
Hopefully this is their second record. This is their second record, right?
There's a good choice. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, he was going to use it. Now he won't.
You know, the thing,
It was in the
I think the thing is I love Iron Butterfly so much that I wanted to show that record, but I forgot they have Iron Butterfly Heavy, and then Inagata Davida, and then Ball. Damn it. Whatever. But Long Cold Winter. Great second album. I mean, I love Night Songs. Night Songs is just phenomenal too, but I like the bluesy vibe that they got on Long Cold Winter. They could have very easily made Night Songs too, but Long Cold Winter is a more mature record. I think it flows really well. Like I said, I like the blues on this record. There's a lot of great singles on here. You had Gypsy Road, Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone, The Last Mile, Coming Home was a single. But side 2 opens up with the title track, Long Cold Winter, which is just a killer blues song. And I think the album has aged well as well. And yeah, Long Cold Winter, Cinderella. It's not their third record.
That's
That's a great choice. Yeah.
I prefer Night Songs, but you can't really compare them. They're almost like two different bands.
They
Night
really
Songs, straight heavy metal, and then Long Cold Winter's like blues metal, and they're both equally good in their own respect.
Yeah, I like the point you just made, Chris. The fact that, you know, while Aaron's saying how they're two different records, and they very easily, with the success of Night Songs, could have said, well, let's just recycle it. But no, they went a different direction. And I think that's what makes that record so fantastic. I remember when it came out, loving it, because it wasn't quite what I expected, but the changes that they make, I'm a big blues fan anyway. So to make it a blues rock band like that, I'm like, shit, this is kick ass. You know, I mean, it's just a great record. Good choice.
Well, they even changed their image too. I mean, Night Songs is just the cover of that. They're totally glammed out on that. And then here, they went for just more of a, you know, just a leather, normal, no makeup, no glam. You know, they just changed the look and sound.
Kind of like Motley Crue did after Shot at the Devil.
Yeah.
They did that.
After Shot at the Devil was Theater of Pain, right?
That was where they were. Then they went kind of street on girls. But
I still can't believe I picked Iron Butterfly's third record.
Heavy is hard to remember sometimes.
No, you know what it is? It's that now I'm trying to justify it. I look at Inagata Devita as their first record almost.
Yeah.
But it's not.
I think you just kind of did one of those sneaky Aaron things, and you just found a way to talk about an extra record is what you did. That's all right. I love you, Chris. I'm not going to call you out for cheating, but that's okay.
I'm the only cheater here.
That's right. Only Aaron's allowed to cheat, not you.
All the Iron Butterfly fans are going to come out. They're going to be like, you asshole, you picked Ball as the second record. I can't believe you.
You're so stupid.
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. My sophomore album comes from a pretty well-known established artist, but at this point, this was the second album of his solo career. I'm going with Robert Plant, Principle of the Moments.
Damn it. Damn it, Gary. Now I've got a backup. Don't worry about it.
Well, I was gonna say I gave myself a couple backups too, but anyway, I think kind of like what Chris was saying about the Cinderella. One of the things that makes this really interesting is the fact that it's so different than his first album. At least I think his first album was still a little more in the Led Zeppelin vein, a bit. You know, it almost sounds like it came right after In Through the Outdoor or something. I love that first album, but this one I think is very different. He started to take chances with this album, and but I also feel like he still had well-constructed songs. I feel like on the next album, on Shaken and Stirred, sometimes he just did weird things just to be weird. As where here, he does some weird things, but it always fits within the construct of the song. And you never feel like you're just listening to weird ass shit just for the sake of it. These are all really good songs. He sounds good. He's got good musicians with him. It has almost, I don't know, a new wave type sound. Not even new wave. I don't know how you describe it, but it still rocks at certain points enough where you still know it's Robert Plant. But it definitely established him as, hey, I'm out here on my own. I am a solo artist now. You know, you gave him the first album. You could say, well, who knows? These might be holdover Led Zeppelin songs. But he did this one. totally different. It was kind of like almost saying, hey, I'm here to stay. I've got my own career. I'm taking my own path. So Principle of Moments is my sophomore pick for number, whatever, 4.
One, it's got a lot of synthesizers on it, but they're done in a very tasteful way. Like I said about the same thing about Ghost in the Machine from the Police. They don't sound like cheesy early 80s synthesizers. I think they're done very well. In the Mood, I think, is a great track. Big Log is another fantastic track, but it's just got a mood about it. And I think he just hit that sweet spot in the early 80s where it was tastefully done. It wasn't like the hard rock that everybody came to expect from Led Zeppelin. I mean, yeah, it does rock hard in places, but it definitely established Robert Plant as having a separate identity from, you know, the stuff he'd been known for Led Zeppelin. But one thing I want to comment on is the cover, because the cover has always reminded me of the cover to this album, John Lennon, Rock and Roll. I mean, even down blurry, this is actually George and Paul. Here, kind of like the blurry figures. He's just kind of standing there and you got the blurry figures. Nick Drake, same thing, like on the back of his first album, the same idea. Nick Drake is just kind of standing against a brick wall and you've got like these figures in motion in front of him. So for whatever reason, that's like a popular album cover image, I guess, but that always reminded me of that album anyway. I got to come up with a different album, but that's all right. All right, well, okay, since we're gonna go that route, I hope no this album.
Great
I'm gonna go ahead and play this card.
Yeah.
Because I
hard to beat that.
Great album. I mean, and I know it's not a lot of people's favorite Black Sabbath album, and it's almost like you can't be cool and have Paranoid as your favorite Black Sabbath album, but I think it's great. I love the first album, but I think Paranoid, I mean, you got War Pigs on there, you got Iron Man, you got the title track, Paranoid, obviously. I mean, just such a great album from start to finish. It's heavy, and then there's lighter moments. You know, Planet Caravan is very moody. I love that track. Just such a great album from start to finish. It's an album that Black Sabbath needed to make because I think it introduced them to a larger audience than the first album did. But there's no mistaking that is an excellent, from start to finish, great album. It may not be your favorite album, but you can't deny it is an excellent masterpiece of an album.
Oh, yeah.
I love Fairies Wear Boots, and also the instrumental Rat Salad is really good too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not a bad track on it. It's
Hand to
solid from start to finish.
What did you say, Aaron?
Said Hand of Doom is one of my favorite Sabbath songs. I love that song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you know what? I think, you know, you're saying how nobody says it's their favorite Black Sabbath album, but I just think a lot of that is because people have heard it so much. I don't think anybody can deny that it's a 5-star record. I mean, that's just a great freaking album. It's just, you know, people, you know, it's like, how many times can you hear Iron Man and some of those songs? I mean, I can still listen to War Pigs as far as that goes. But, you know, you gravitate towards the other ones just because you haven't heard them quite as much. But Paranoid, pretty much a perfect album, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Mighty Sabbath.
All right, Aaron.
I'm afraid someone's going to have this. I don't know if I want to do it.
Go for it.
Okay, well, the debut of this band, a lot of people, or most people, think is maybe the best debut of all time. But to me, I like this one just a hair better. Do you have this?
I have a guess in my mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just like this one. They threw together really fast. The first album, they had all the songs prepped out. You know, they've been playing them for years in the clubs. This one, they were rushed by the record company to put out. And so they had just a few, like 2 weeks, I think, to record it and do the songs. And I think it's a masterpiece. I just love Van Halen too.
Oh, okay. That's not who I thought you was going to pick.
Yeah. And
That's a great pick. Great pick.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like Light Up the Sky, I think took them to a whole nother level. And then DOA's is my favorite Van Halen song that's on here. It's got, you know, Somebody Get Me a Doctor. And I love Women in Love. A lot of people don't like that. I love that song. And Beautiful Girls. And, you know, I just think this is as good as the first to me.
Great
But,
harmonies. Woman in Love shows off the great harmonies of Van Halen.
Yeah.
Anthony,
Yeah.
you know, how great a vocalist he was, and added to that Van Halen sound. Van Halen 2 is not in any way a step down from the first album. Like you were saying, you kind of qualified the albums that we were picking for this ranking. And I think Van Halen definitely fits. I think there are people who like it better than the first album, and I understand why. You know, you got Dance the Night Away, which was a great radio single. You're No Good is a fantastic album opener. Beautiful Girls is one of my favorite Van Halen songs. But yeah.
Yeah. It's different. You know, it has this energy about it because it was put together so quickly. It just has this energy, like it's just, you know, full of emotion and just powerful to me. And I think all the first 6 to me are perfect records, even Diver Down included. I love them all. But this one here is just a hair less than fair warning to me for my favorite. So I love this album.
You know, I feel like that album has really, you know, just in the time I've been in the VC, I have seen more people kind of saying what you're saying. For whatever reason, you know, because Van Halen 2 came out, and Van Halen 1 was still so well loved and everything. I think a lot of people kind of shit on Van Halen 2 a little bit, but as time has went by, you know, they've revisited it. And like you said, Jeff, those harmonies are great. They're actually better constructed songs than the ones that are on Van Halen 1. Those are pretty simple songs. Van Halen 2, it's like they kind of expanded their songwriting a little bit. And yeah, I think that's a great choice. That's a really good one. I didn't even think of that. That's an excellent choice.
Yeah, that's odd too, because the other songs had been established. They'd been playing them for years. And these songs were mainly all just thrown together real like And, you know, stuff like Light Up the Sky is almost like got some progressive moments almost. It's just so intricate. The guitar work is so good in that.
Yeah, it does. Somebody Get Me a Doctor is one of their best all-time songs, man. I love that.
Yeah. And I love it when Michael Anthony will sing that live too.
Yeah, I love Somebody Get Me a Doctor. I love DOI. They found a dirty-faced kid in a
garbage can.
That's TOA, my favorite Van Halen song. Yep.
Yep.
All right, Chris.
Well, I see.
They were on album, sophomore album.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's funny. I'm going to show you something here. I see this album behind Aaron, and I know this is their second album because it actually says Danzig 2.
There you go.
It could be Danzig 11.
It could be. Lucifuge. Love this record. I mean, the first album is great too. I like the production on this record though. The first album sort of, it's heavy, but it's got a real dry sort of AC/DC sound to it, which is not a bad thing. But I think they kind of expanded their sound with this record. And I also love there's some acoustic sort of bluesy stuff on here with Killer Wolf is on here. I'm the One. Every song on here, Long Way Back from Hell, Snakes of Christ, Devil's Plaything. There's a killer ballad on here called Blood and Tears, which shows you Danzig's vocal ability. I mean, you know, you read how he was influenced by Elvis and Roy Orbison. Well, you can hear it on Blood and Tears. The whole band is kicking ass on this record. I believe it's produced by Rick Rubin again. Yep, produced by Rick Rubin. But he went for a different sound on this record, and I like it. I think when I was younger, I liked the first album better. But as I've gotten older, I tend to go to the second album more, and I think it's because of the production. I almost think the songs are a little bit better too. But Danzig 2, Lucifuge, just a killer record.
And we're talking about covers that remind us of something else. That cover reminds me of the Doors first album.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Every time I listen to these early Danzig records, I just wish Danzig could sing like this still. His voice was amazing. And I'm surprised he could still sing by the time he was in Danzig, because, you know, other singers would have blown their voices out with the Misfits and Sam Hain, but he almost got stronger as the years progressed. But now, of course, he can't sing as well as he used to, but you listen to Danzig too, Lucifuge, it's just classic Glenn Danzig.
Yeah, to me, that's his best album. That one and 3, 2 and 3 are like neck and neck. Even though the first one's amazing, that's just an amazing record all the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna go another record because I see another choice of mine behind Aaron, so I'm gonna go choose something different for my next.
No, I'm not using these.
Yeah, I'm gonna surprise you.
All right.
Oh, good.
Rod McEwen's not a surprise. All right.
All right. For my next pick, I went with an album that I feel like sometimes it doesn't get shown as much, and I think that's mostly just because of the album cover. But I am going by the Sophomore album from the Ramones. Ramones Leave Home. Yeah, I'm not crazy about that album cover either, but the album itself, I actually like this better than I do their debut album, and I like it better than Rocket to Russia. I'm not going to say I like it better than Road to Ruin, but I do really like this album. It sounds a little more, I hate to use this word with the Ramones, but a little more mature than the first album. The songs are some of them are slightly longer. There's a little more going on than what there was on the first album. But yet they have such a great sense of humor on this. I mean, Gimme Shock Treatment, one of their best songs. Commando is on here, and what the hell? Why am I forgetting? Oh, Pinhead. Yeah, Pinhead is on here too, and I love that song. That's what's great about the Ramones. They've just got this great, punk rock music behind them, and a lot of their lyrics are just hilarious. But yet they find a way to rock out. I love the Ramones, and this is an album that I really do think that you don't see people show it as much just because this cover, because they had such a great cover on the first album, and then on Rocket to Russia, and this one's like stuck right in the middle, and they're like, what is all this, blue sky behind them and all this stuff? But you listen to the record, it's a good one.
Question.
Cool. You got the hype sticker on there too.
Yeah, I don't always have that, but on this one I do.
Nice.
Great.
You can't go wrong with the Ramones. I mean,
Nah.
I love the Ramones.
All right. Mine is my second album that I'm going to show is from Paul McCartney, his second solo album, Ram. Many people consider it to be their favorite Paul McCartney solo album. I know it is mine. Something that had to grow on me because there are definitely some harsh moments on here, like Monkberry Moondelight. But I just love, Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey is on here. Too Many People is great. Ram On is a fantastic track. Long Haired Lady, Backseat of My Car is great. But basically, Paul McCartney's first album had been very much self-produced. He played all the instruments himself. He had Linda McCartney on background vocals. But it really sounded, except for Maybe I'm Amazed, kind of like a collection of demos. Because, Paul's a great bass player, great guitar player, but as far as drumming, maybe not the most proficient, but enough that he could carry the album on his own. But it was definitely felt like a lot of the link tracks on the White Album, like stuff like Wild Honey Pie and sort of the insubstantial White Album stuff that was on there. There was a lot of almost sounded like half-finished ideas, and the critics really roasted Paul McCartney. They gave him a lot of crap for McCartney. And so for his second album, Ram, he was determined that he was not going to repeat what he had done on McCartney. He hired a bunch of session musicians and went to New York and recorded the album. And he wanted a much more polished effort, kind of the album that people had been expecting from McCartney. And there were still people who, you know, did not care for this album, but I think over time it has definitely grown in stature. Band on the Run used to be my favorite Paul McCartney album. Now it's Ram. It's just a great, great album. There's so much to love on that album. Three Legs is kind of a commentary. People say it's kind of a veiled attack on John Lennon, but it's got a country feel to it. Smile Away is kind of a hard rocker. You got Heart of the Country, which could have fit right at home on the White Album. You know, Eat at Home is a Buddy Holly pastiche, if you will, but just a great, great album. And when I think of great sophomore albums, that one definitely is one of the first ones that springs to mind.
Yeah, a lot of people forget too. He was in the Beatles.
Who's in who? What?
The Beatles, the band before McCartney stuff.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, a lot of people forget that.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, they're a pretty good band.
They got some good songs.
Yeah.
What? How do you spell it? Is it Beetles?
No, it's sort of a play on. It's like a pun sort of thing. It's Beat. Beat.
I'll have to look that up on Spotify. I did not know that. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. I'm here to spread the knowledge
Thank you.
and show bands' third records.
All right, Aaron. Sorry I took your Paul McCartney. I know you had Paul McCartney on your list, but I beat you to the punch. Sorry about that.
All right. This is another great sophomore record, and they had an amazing debut, had a bunch of big hits on it, but this one took them a level further. The Great Radio Controversy from Tesla. And it, their debut, Mechanical Resonance, was great. And this was just, when Love Song and Paradise, those two came out, it was just took them to another level. And it's got Hang Tough on here. There's actually 13 songs. So it's really long. It's like an hour long, this record. And every song's good on it. There's some really heavy moments. Heaven's Trail, No Way Out, my favorite Tesla song. Great one. But it's just a really solid record all the way through. And it's one of my favorite sophomore records.
Good record.
I was going to go with Psychotic Stepper, but I thought I'd do this one.
Tesla was my first concert.
Well, I never saw them live. I wish I would have.
Yeah, I saw Tesla and Poison. It's great.
Who'd you like better?
Well, I was there for Poison, so at the time I'd probably have to say Poison. I don't know. I think both bands are very different, though.
Yeah, this is a much more bluesy band, of course. You got Frankie Hannon and Thomas Gio on the guitar. They're both great. Yeah. And just a great hard rocking record. Amazing stuff on here.
Good choice.
Good choice. Good choice.
Good choice. Good choice.
A very influential punk album. And it's from one of my favorite bands. And that is My War by Black Flag. Yeah. Got to go Black Flag. So their first album was Damaged. I'm just proving that this is their second album. So Damaged was their first record. My War followed that. And it's one of those things where, like, how do you follow an album like Damaged? Do you make Damaged 2? No, you do My War. And it's just so different. The songs are a little bit more heavy. They brought in more of a hard rock vibe. And I've read where Black Flag was actually listening to a lot of Dio around this time, and you can hear it in some of the guitar work. I mean, it's got a heavy metal vibe to it. The whole second side is slow and sludgy, almost doom-like. Those three songs on the second side, Nothing Left Inside, Three Nights, and Scream, they almost could be one song. It's just like one long, dirgy, sludgy song. My War is just classic Black Flag. You have the artwork by Raymond Pettibon on here. The only thing about the lineup, I love Rollins on vocals. I love Greg Ginn on a guitar. I love Bill Stevenson on drums. But a lot of people don't know that Dale Nixon is actually, it's actually Greg Ginn. He's playing bass on this, but he made up a name for the album. I liked when they brought in this female bass player named Kira on some of their later records, but this is just, it's a classic lineup, classic record. It's shown a lot. I mean, this has become, I mean, when you talk about punk records, this is definitely up there, probably in most people's top 10. And I had to show this.
I love that record. Thanks for sending it to me, by the way. That second side, like you're right, it's just so heavy.
It's getting harder to find too, even represses of it.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever noticed, but that kind of looks like Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's supposed to be Rollins, actually.
Supposed to be who?
Henry Rollins.
It is.
I think so.
Does Henry Rollins look like Adolf Hitler?
On a bad day.
He does there.
So there you go.
All right, Black Flag. We got a little bit of everything today. I was hoping you were going to pick Peter, Paul, and Mary, but maybe we don't know. Got your number one pick coming up. All right, my next one for a great sophomore album. A lot of people think this was his first album, but it was not. But it was his biggest album. And I am going with Don't Say No by Billy Squire. This is another one of those albums to me that just another 5-star record. Not a bad song on here. Starts off with In the Dark, probably my favorite Billy Squire song. And then it has The Stroke. I don't know whose theme song that is, but it just doesn't stop. There's just great songs all the way through here. And it was like, you know, this was lightning in a bottle. He never could quite match this album again. He did have some other great songs, some other really good albums, but this was his one real perfect album from start to finish. And this is one of the ones that I've had since it came out. And I can still put it on today, just listen to the whole thing, really get into it. It's just a well-crafted album with just great songs. Billy Squire, such a good songwriter, good singer. He's got a great band on here. I guess I don't really need to say a whole lot. Most people know this album. They've played it to death, but I had to put this on our list.
What was his first
Say
album?
No. Tail the Tape.
No kidding. Wow.
I've actually never heard that Billy Squire album all the way through.
Wow, that's a great one.
Really?
Nope.
The first side of that is almost perfect too. Isn't My Kind of Lover finish out the first side?
Yeah.
That's just.
Well, I think it finishes it out.
I can't remember. I got it over here, but.
I don't know. The order on here is, I don't think it's correct, but
it might be right after The Stroke, actually.
yeah, I think it is. I think 2 Days Gone finishes
Yeah.
that, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
In the Dark is my favorite Squire song too. That album just has so much energy to it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Well,
Well,
I was just gonna say that's my homework. I need to listen to that record.
I did not
Yeah,
know
I got to listen to
an
it.
album. I always thought that was his first one.
Yeah. Nope.
Learn something new every day.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that was not Adolf Hitler. It's Henry Rollins.
I think,
Oh, okay.
but I don't want the Black Flag fan base to come after me.
Black Flag fan base. Is it Henry Rollins or is it Adolf Hitler with no mustache?
You tell me.
Tell us, please. Okay, Jeff.
All right. Well, the album that I'm picking, my favorite guitar player of the 80s. It's one of my favorite bands of the 1980s. Definitely in the alternative new wave category. I am going with Meat is Murder by the Smiths. Love this record. Love Johnny Marr. Love Morrissey. So many great moments on this album from start to finish, from the Headmaster Ritual, which opens it. That joke isn't funny anymore is a great track. I didn't realize how Soon As Now was only on the American pressing of this album. But if you have the US version of the album, that is on there. Great. Nowhere Fast. Barbarism Begins at Home. Love that bass riff on there that carries throughout the song. But Johnny Marr's just got such a melodic way of playing guitar, and he writes just such classic riffs. Morrissey has such great lyrics. I Want the One I Can't Have is so typical Morrissey, but yeah, for me, this might be my favorites in this album, and it's so great. Love it. And I mean, the debut is okay, but it doesn't hold a candle to Meat Is Murder for me. But
I love the Smiths. I mean, Morrissey's voice is amazing. Nobody sounded like the Smiths.
no, not at all.
I just love the whole, they are such an English band. I just love their English sense of humor. And the lyrics are so witty. And Morrissey's delivery is, nobody sings like him.
Yeah, they were a singles band. They weren't really an album band. All their songs, I mean, are very separate. It's not like, Meat Is Murder holds together as a thematic concept album. I mean, they have so many great singles, but yeah, I don't know. I've just thought that was one of the first alternative bands that I was ever introduced to, and I've been a huge fan ever since.
Yeah, I know Aaron is a big Smiths fan.
Well, I know, and I'm sorry I took that off. I'm gonna show that one too, Aaron. But
Yeah, I got all my Smiths albums
hope
right
you got
here.
a bunch of backups. Yeah.
I don't know which one to pick here. I got so many good ones here. Oh man.
Watch him pull out Morrissey, the album Walk Tall and I.
I guarantee I won't pull it. I'm just gonna go with this because it's the second one I thought of when I thought of this. After the Megadeth, this is the second one I thought of. And I hope it's not one of your last picks. Their debut is actually my favorite, but this is their most known, and the one that really catapulted them into superstardom and kind of changed the face of heavy metal in the mid 80s. A lot of bands started copying them, and it's Shout of the Devil. Motley Crue, Shout of the Devil. Their first two albums to me are almost perfect, and then the rest are really good. But this album here, I remember when this came out, I was like shocked at seeing them in the videos, and when I was early teen years, and just love this album, and I've always loved it. And it's really dark, of course, and I love like Red Hot, Knock 'Em Dead Kid. All the deep tracks are really good on it, and even the Beatles song is good.
Helter Skelter.
Yeah, I still like the Beatles version better, but this is really close. And they did do a instrumental, but I just had to put this in here somewhere because it was kind of changed the whole metal landscape when it came out, and boosted the popularity of heavy metal a lot.
I wish when they released it on CD, they would have kept that cover. I don't know why they chose those 4 photographs for the CD cover.
I think the cassette has, I don't have it anymore. I think the cassette had the 4 pictures too. It always drove me crazy too.
Yeah.
This here.
Yeah, those pictures from the Looks at Kill video.
Yep.
The riffs on that album are just great.
Oh,
song too. I mean, they're such memorable songs. They just stick in your head.
Yeah. Every song on it is great. It's not just singles. Looks to Kill, Shout of the Devil, Too Young to Fall in Love, but
Yeah.
stuff, 10 Seconds to Love, Six in Your Head, Red Hot, Knock 'Em Dead Kids.
Yeah, I'm with you. The first 2 albums are just great. And then after that, it was like kind of touch and go with their stuff. I mean, the other albums are great, but nothing holds a candle to the debut and Shout at the Devil.
Yeah, they're just more powerful. The other ones are all really good. They just don't have that same energy to them that those first 2 have, I don't think.
Yeah.
They were almost like hybrid punk metal biker hybrid, weird hybrid. So
Yeah.
I really love, yeah.
Yeah.
21.
That's a great record. That's one of those records that when I got back into vinyl and I went to get my old records out, that was gone.
Oh,
I have no idea what happened to it. That's maybe the devil took his record back. I don't know, but it was mysteriously gone.
yeah, we're shouting at the devil. We're not shouting with the devil. I remember them saying
That's
stuff like,
right. We're saying, doggone you, devil. Get out.
You devil.
Motley Crue was basically Striper. I mean, come on.
They were.
yeah, they just wore black and studs instead of the yellow black.
Yeah. Now, did you say, Aaron, at the beginning there that you like the debut better?
Yes. Too Fast for Love. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
I always loved it the best, but it's really close. They're both pretty much perfect records as far as I'm concerned. That one's a little darker and heavier. Just Too Fast for Love just has a little more punk energy to it that I really love, and just really, I just love the energy of it a little better, even though that's a little darker and heavier. So they both equally good in their own way.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Just how you described it. That's the same way. They're really close, but just, exactly why you said that. I agree 100% with that. Chris.
Yes, I agree with you guys. Well, thinking now, I'm like, oh, I should have shown Iron Maiden Killers. I could have shown By the Lightning, but
Kiss, Dress to Kill.
Kiss, Dress to Kill. Yeah, I'm keeping it.
I don't know.
I'm keeping it metal because I'm reaching out to. I'm trying to get with the metal community tonight, and I want some street cred. So I'm going with Creator, Pleasure to Kill. This album, oh my God, thrash classic from these German thrash pioneers. Their first album, Endless Pain, was great as well, but this is just 10 times better. This includes my favorite Creator song, the title track, Pleasure to Kill. But you've also got Riot of Violence, which is phenomenal. And I love Under the Guillotine, the last song. Creator's still going strong. I think they're actually going to be coming out with a new album soon. But you cannot talk about thrash without mentioning Creator. Just a killer band, and their second record was leaps and bounds above the first album. And anybody out there who listens to thrash, hopefully you would agree with me. But Creator, just love this band.
That's a great album, and you sent that. Thank you, Chris.
It's freaking heavy. It's a heavy freaking record.
Yeah, when I get 10 beers on me, that's what I go right to that one. I wait till I get beers.
I love the cover art too. The cover art. I've always loved how they write their name too, and just German thrash. I mean, you can't go. Are we saying, Gary?
It's the German.
Jawohl, Commandant.
Yes.
That's a great album.
Love it.
That cover does look cool. I had no idea what that music sounds like. I've never heard the band, but it is a cool looking cover. I will say that.
I could have shown Flock of Seagulls. I think their second album was called Listen, wasn't it, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or Thompson Twins, the second record.
Yeah.
While you're on that, Flock of Seagulls, is that something I should buy? Like if I see one of their albums?
Yeah,
I like
great.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Their first three albums, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, don't
I
get
feel
their
like
fourth
it's
record.
I feel like it's something I would appreciate now more than maybe at the time when it came out. So
Yeah. Do you like 80s synth pop?
I do. I mean, certain bands, I like Berlin a lot, so that makes me think that maybe I might like that.
Oh man, I could have shown more of the Monkees too. Damn it.
Thought about it, but The Day We Fall in Love killed it.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, for my number one pick, I went for what I consider an obvious choice when I first started going through these in my head at work this week. This was one of the ones that popped up. And at first I wasn't going to use it, but I thought, nope, I love this album. So I am going with Aerosmith, Get Your Wings. I love all the Aerosmith albums from the 70s. I really do. I mean, I can put on any of them and listen to them from start to finish. But I don't know, there's just certain aspects of this album that, at the risk of sounding like an elf, that they're just magical to me. I think there's, certain albums, I just feel that way. I feel like there's just some parts on there where they just really, the whole blues rock combination that they had, and just, when they would add another little element to it, it was just, like songs like Spaced and stuff. They're just really cool songs. And then they have others on here that are just raw, really raw songs that could have been on the first album. Seasons of Weather, of course, is on here. One of their best songs. I love the album cover too. I just think that's such a great 70s look right there. They're just such badasses, around this time period.
Looks a lot better than the first album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love Aerosmith. What's great, another thing about getting back into the vinyl and everything, was listening to my old Aerosmith records, because I hadn't listened to them for a while, because, when you think of Aerosmith now, you think of a lot of the stupid shit that they've done over the past 20 years. And you just forget how great these albums were. And Get Your Wings is just a top-notch album.
Does that album have Dude Looks Like a Lady on it?
No, it does not.
It's got Love in an Elevator on it.
Oh, does it? Okay. Yeah.
Janie's got a gun.
I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is on.
Okay. Well, my favorite Aerosmith album is Draw the Line.
That's a great one.
I love that album. Yeah, that's a great one. Man, they were a coked up mess on that album.
Well, yeah, you and when you're coked up, you write a song like Kings and Queens, which is my favorite Aerosmith song.
Oh, that's a great song. Now, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. They're a blues rock band, but yet they just kind of throw something weird into that song, and it really stands out. That's such a great song. Yeah. And the song Draw the Line.
Yeah, top 5 for me is songs of them too. I love that. But mine's Rocks, my favorite.
Great album.
Rocks is probably my favorite album.
Nobody's Fault what brings it just a little higher for me. I just love that song so much.
Yes, that's good. Rocks is just another perfect album. Probably Rocks and Get Your Wings are my favorite 2 Aerosmith albums, and then all the rest are going to be the ones from the 70s. Just throw them in there. I do like Done with Mirrors quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a great one. Very underrated and very heavy.
Yeah, nobody ever talks about it. It's like, to me, that was their comeback album.
I saw Ron Haggerty talking about it just recently, just like a day or 2 ago.
Yeah, he did. Well, he did on the dog video.
That's right. That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jeffrey.
Really, no Led Zeppelin 2? No Kiss Hotter Than Hell? Nobody? Anybody?
Those were the first, that Killers, they were all on there, and I'm like, I'll try to throw a few different things in.
I was gonna pick did Piper at the Gates of Dawn come out before Saucerful of Secrets, Pink Floyd? Yeah, I was gonna do Saucerful of Secrets, but
yeah,
I don't know.
All right. Well, I was gonna do White Snake, Slip of the Tongue, and I thought no. I was going to do Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I thought no. I was going to do Genesis, Invisible Touch. I thought no.
Yeah. Iron Butterfly Fall.
Yeah, Journey, Evolution. I was going to do. I thought no. So anyway, what I settle on is, and this is a band that nobody ever talks about on the BC, or at least no channels that I have ever watched, but for me, I love this album. This is one of my favorite albums of 1967. Talking about the Moody Blues and Day of Future Past, classic album. You've got an orchestra on here, but it's a bit of psychedelia, but this is a great album to fall asleep to, to just kind of like chill out at the end of a long day. It's definitely thematic. It's pretty much the day in the life of anybody pretty much. It starts off with the day begins. You've got dawn, the morning, lunch break, the afternoon, evening, and then the Nights in White Satin. Tuesday Afternoon was the other big single off of here. I love Dawn Is a Feeling. I love that song. There's so many great tracks on here, but Moody Blues were they were proggy, and I know people will take me to task for that, but they use a lot of the mellotron, which I love. They've got poetry in there, which I think is very cool. They rock hard in places, but I just love the balance of it all. You've got the sweeping orchestral suites on here, but then you've got the very kind of melodic pop songs. You've got some poetry thrown in there. Just the best of the Moody Blues. My favorite Moody Blues album. Like I say, probably only after Sgt. Pepper, my favorite album of 1967. Just a great concept album, great Moody Blues album. And I wish more people talked about the Moody Blues, and I could, go on and on about them. But, that one immediately came to mind.
I've talked about the Moody Blues on my channel.
God bless you. We should do it.
But you're right. They need to be talked about more. My favorite Moody Blues album is A Question of Balance. And I also like On the Threshold of a Dream. But the album you just showed is killer.
Yeah.
And Justin Hayward could sing the phone book. That guy has just a phenomenal voice.
Yeah, he's right. And they had so many, gifted musicians in there too, but they just, I don't know, they just kind of get overlooked. I think their first 7 albums are really solid, and it's kind of hit or miss after that. But and they had multiple vocalists too. It wasn't just Justin Hayward. They had other singers in the band as well, which is very cool. And I love the follow-up album, In Search of the Lost Chord, is very cool. But yeah, not a
To Our Children's Children.
Yeah.
And I remember that album all the time when I was a kid. My dad used to have the 8-track, and when we'd be driving, we'd play it. It's a great album.
Yeah. And that was
you guys kill me when you talk about your parents playing good music, and I think of the stuff that my dad would play. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Now I'm interested. What did your dad listen to, Gary?
Elevator music. The only thing he ever got, he would get these 8 tracks of I don't know how you pronounce it. It was Ferdinand and Tisher, something like that. It was these 2 guys, and all it was they would take like songs that had been popular like over the past couple of years and do these elevator versions of it. And he would stick that 8-track tape into the van, and I don't even think he even paid attention to it. It was just background music to him. Eventually, he started letting me play some of my 8 tracks, and he'd just make me sit in the back, and he'd put the music in the back speakers. And the fact that he didn't normally pay attention to it, he didn't really care. Every now and then, he would pay attention to like a certain lyric or something, because I remember he's going, "Hotter than hell, huh?" He just kind of shake his head.
Oh, Preston, what?
Yeah.
Blaster Caster, huh?
Yeah. What the hell?
Christine
Grab a hold of me,
16.
We can almost do a second part of this, because I have a whole stack here of amazing second records I didn't use. No one used Led Zeppelin 2, or I won't go through them.
All right, go ahead. Show them. You're going to show them.
I thought Gary was going to show this, so I didn't do this one.
I thought that was another one. I'm like, I
had it ready.
I was sure Gary was going to pick it.
I like Rockarola better.
And then there's this one, of course. And I really love this. I think that's underrated. That's a great one too. One of my favorites.
Nice.
Another one of my favorites. I still got a bunch, but I'll just, got stuff like this.
Yeah.
Just amazing second records. That one.
That's a great album.
Yeah, that's and this one here I almost showed with my Dio record just to do it, but I didn't. So Yeah. And of course, the best album by this band, easily. Well, as far as I'm concerned. So that's it. I'll quit.
I was going to show that one.
All right.
I
I don't know why I can't get into them. I've tried.
was
I
going to
need to
show
listen
that
to
one.
record.
What's the Cure's second record?
17 seconds.
Okay.
Oh, is that about their sex life?
Oh, Gary.
Really good at rodeo. Instead of 8 seconds, just 17 on the bull.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we
Because
could
I
do
just picture those guys.
third albums too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you already did, so
Well, and here's the thing, all joking aside, a lot of times by the third album, that's where bands start to really run out of ideas.
Yep. So it's really, when a band has a really great third album, you can tell they really got something going.
yeah.
We could do a video on shitty third albums.
Yeah. We may just have to.
We need to do one on the Smiths or the Cure, and Aaron and I will just make shit up. We'll just
Well, if we're talking about bands' third albums, I like Zeppelin 3 better than Zeppelin 2. No love, huh?
I love it. It just depends on my mood, honestly, as far as that goes. But Led Zeppelin 2 is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's a good album. I like Zeppelin 3 better. But
Yeah, I won't
Yeah.
argue with it.
So much on Led Zeppelin 2 has been overplayed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm going to listen to one, it's probably going to be Led Zeppelin 3. But, you're with some buddies, you're drinking a few beers, and Led Zeppelin 2, you're like, yeah, this is pretty goddamn good. So
The only song on that is just so overplayed for me. It's the Lemon song. Heard that on the radio so much. I actually like that song a lot.
I think there's a song on there called Whole Lot of Love, too, I want to say.
yeah.
I'll have to say, that's quite the experience if you have a really good sounding version on a stereo, though. That one. I love that.
You gotta listen to that one in the headphones, baby.
Yep.
Well, and I think isn't Sabbath's third record was Master of Reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is a heavy freaking record. Holy
Yeah.
We should do it. We should do the 3 one. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we won't.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Been a pleasure as always. See you next week. Everybody take care.